Welcome back to the show. This is Relax Radio, Relaks. Yeah, with none other than me, Nick. And guess who we have on board today? We got my buddy Kevin as well. What's happening, Kevin? How are you doing?
Yeah, good evening. Yes, nice to be back. Yes, could make a bit of this.
Hey, I see something you're wearing pink today.
Remember last week, Nick, you said about wearing a pink shirt. So
I wasn't really being serious about it, but
when I was raising money for breast cancer, if I get a little bit, you'll be able to see it. Breast cancer care.
I'm telling you, that is
yes, breast cancer.
Yeah, it's very. I like how that your whole kit. I just told you last week. I was just kidding about it. I was just ribbing you, but to see that you actually have a shirt like that is just amazing because it reminds me, how altruistic you are. Also, with all the charity work that you do with your cycling and all of that. It's great stuff right there. I like the pink thing. So hey, the next time, like I said, next time let me know that I'll wear something pink as well.
Okay, I'll see if I can find one that looks camouflage like your shirt. So
I've been feeling a little bit of that camo feeling. You know what it is.
Yes.
So Kevin, how's your day been? How's everything been? It's been a whole week since I last saw you.
Yeah, been very busy this week, Nick. Very busy.
Oh wait. What have you been doing? What have you been up to?
Well, currently I'm working at a school. If I'm allowed to say the name, it's Gascoigne Primary School. It's in Barking.
Okay.
And I've been there. I've been there most of this week. I'm back there again tomorrow. And
all right.
I'm doing bikeability. You know what we spoke about last week, bikeability.
Oh, yeah, you told me something about the T thing, about, the tire.
Yeah, I'm doing bikeability. I've done one course there this week, and I'm halfway through the second course, so I've finished tomorrow.
All right. So why the school all of a sudden? What did they invite you over, or did you think about going there, or was it?
No, I've been actually in Gascoigne Primary School. I've been going there for a number of years, and the company I work for, we offer services to the local schools in Barking and Dagenham, and we go in and we train the children up, various things, bikeability, learn to ride, other road safety aspects as well. The children seem to get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
What are the age groups that you work with generally in those schools?
Well, for the bikeability, it's usually years 5 and 6 that covers ages from about 9 to 11.
All right.
And we have gone in some schools and we teach younger children
all right.
to ride and some basic cycle skills, bit of road safety.
So think about it. They must be a little handful, right? Like how I am sometimes. I mean, they must be a little bit of a handful, teaching those kids something.
It can be. It's not as bad as working with you, though. So.
Oh wow! I'm so not hurt.
At the end of the day, Nick, you're just a big kid, aren't you?
I mean, aren't we all? If you think about it, end of the day, all of us are children in our own ways, right? I mean, we try to adult the way in life, but it doesn't work out all the time. Sometimes you just have to play along. You have to have a good time. You have to enjoy. I mean, even now, I'd say even for you, you'd feel the same thing. Like you have that moment, where you feel like a kid again. It's just how it is.
Oh yes, absolutely, Nick. It's like me, I'm getting old now, but I've got a mental age of about 12.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to argue with you on that one.
That's how it goes. But I'd like a big shout out, I must admit, to the staff at the school I'm working at the moment, Gascoigne School, in particular, two of the teachers there, Monica and Farida.
All right, big shout out to them.
Yeah, big shout out to them and to all the teachers. In fact, a big shout out to all teachers everywhere, because they have to do. People say, they get so many weeks holiday a year. Well, believe me, after what they've been through, especially with this pandemic, they fully deserve the time off that they get, as far as I'm concerned, because they work extremely hard.
In my opinion, don't you think we should, if you really come to terms about it, if you think about, consider about this particular point, teachers, how we're supposed to, hats off to all the teachers across the world and in the UK right now, with the pandemic going, they're still doing these online classes. They're doing these Zoom classes as well. But when you come down to consider about it, don't you think they need to be paid more?
Absolutely.
Well, then why aren't they, though?
I couldn't agree more, Nick. Yes, I think they deserve to be paid more.
Then why are they not getting paid more is my question. Like, a lot of them, we see a lot of these social workers and, government workers, especially teachers. For me, it's very heartbreaking. We learn everything from ABCs to, getting a college degree from teachers. I mean, why are they not in the focus of all of this?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew the answer to that. I really wish I knew the answer to that. Well, I think a lot of the teachers, because yes, they're front line, aren't they? They're front line. They're
definitely front line.
But then they take their work home with them. They have
True.
to take work home with them. They have to work late into the evening, perhaps get up early morning.
That's
mark
right.
children's work. They have to assess children's ability. They have to work weekends, and then they do other apart from working during the school day itself, which 9 till 4, 9 till 4:30, whatever. They start earlier, they finish later, and then they do other activities, breakfast clubs, after school clubs, weekend sporting activities and things like that, which a lot of it is unpaid. So that's what I say, a big shout out to all teachers.
That is true. I mean, when you consider the fact, that a lot of these teachers also, they teach these children, especially when it comes to kids, who don't listen also. You know how difficult it is. I have siblings, and I know how difficult it gets, to get them under control, get them in the reins sometimes. And for a teacher, I know one of my girlfriends as well, she's a teacher. So she teaches a class of 100 kids on the Zoom calls, and it's crazy, when it gets overwhelming for me, for someone like me, to be teaching someone on these Zoom call classes or Google Meet classes. It is very difficult. It's a hurdle. I can't wrap my head around the fact, they teach a lot of these children, and they try to keep them quiet as well at the same time, because it is chaos right there. It's pandemonium all the time, every class.
Oh yes, absolutely. Well, I struggle at times doing my cycling.
All right.
In work, but that's nothing compared to what these teachers have to put up with, and especially with the pandemic, where you've had people doing, like you said about your girlfriend, Nick, doing the Zoom class and things like that, the Zoom calls, whatever you wish to call them, and I found going back to school after such a long break through the lockdowns and everything, the children seem to be, how can I explain it? They're not as mature as they used to be, if that makes sense to the they're missing something. Now,
I think they've gotten more complacent at home. So they think, the school environment is not there. Now, when you take a look at things like, and for instance, one of my life experiences that I've seen in Japan, right? You see children in Japan, when they're taught, for 5 or 6 years, I think, straight up until their first year, middle school or something, where they're only trained on discipline. It's all about discipline for them before they get into the formal studies of it. Like before they, teach them about this arithmetic and, all of these stuff. What they do is they teach them how to behave. That's what I think. That's why Japanese are very disciplined people. When you come down, down to the samurai ages, also, how they focus on discipline. It's very different from the lifestyles that, our day-to-day people like here in the UK, what we do as well. It's very, very different in comparison.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I try to push into my cycle work. I'm always telling the children, it's very important that we keep our discipline. And I'm a great one. People laugh at me, but I always say, if I see a child, take your hands out of your pockets. Take your hands out of your pockets. Your brains will fall out. It's a stupid saying, but I say it because I find that I need to try and install some discipline into them. Because if I'm going to take them out onto the road, it's not fun time. It can be fun time, but you don't get the fun time until you're disciplined and you do it right, basically. Do it right.
Yeah, that is true. That is correct. Because
And what I tell the children, I say, if you look at, say, there's a lot of them obviously football fans and everything. I say, the teams at the top, you have teams at the top and teams at the bottom. And if you ever watch them, it's always the teams at the top have the better discipline. It's not necessarily the better players, but they have better discipline. That's why they don't score goals and they don't concede goals. And that's why they're at the top. And they have fun when they win the trophies and they go jumping up and down like headless chickens on the pitch with the trophy, throwing champagne over everybody. And that's their fun time. And they deserve it because they've worked hard for it. You know? That's how I feel.
Correct.
That's how I feel.
That is correct. That is correct. You know, when you think about it, you know, it's a difference between, you know, when you're at the top, it's different. And when you are at the bottom, when you're not winning, especially when it comes to sports like football and all of that, you know, when you think about it, it's the discipline, because end of the day, it's about the grind every single year. Just because, you know, one loss doesn't mean you're supposed to slack off and give up and then, you know, forget about all the things that you've learned and how to behave, how your routine. It's all about consistency, I'd like to say. So you have to stay consistent.
Yes, definitely. Definitely consistency. Yeah, good word there. I'll have to look that up.
I mean, you can always tell this to your children. You know, you can be like, oh, I know this guru. And yeah, he spoke about consistency the other day.
The guru. Oh, you got a new nickname now.
Oh, wow. You're giving me nicknames also.
I was looking at your shirt and I was thinking, what can I call him? Yeah, Nick the Guru. That'll do.
Nick the Guru. I mean, hey, that is kind of catchy. I like that. Yeah, Nick the Guru.
The consistency guru. Yes, that sounds pretty good to me.
Kind of reminds me of that movie, the Mike Myers movie. You know, The Love Guru. He made one. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes, I think I have. Yeah.
Terrible movie, though. Yeah, terrible movie that one was.
Easily forgettable, that one, I think.
Easily forgettable. Yeah. But yeah, getting back to it though, you know, it's all like you know, we were talking about, it's all about the discipline. And sometimes, you know, the kids nowadays where they're not really focused on a discipline, what they want is like, you know, what we spoke about last week, you know, they want the easy way out. They want to be given a medal for losing even and or participating, things like that. It's at the end of the day, it's about the discipline. You know, when you're disciplined, when you are focused, that's when, you know, you can achieve and improve and you can be better every single day. It's not like, oh, I reached this goal, I'm done.
Yep, absolutely right, Nick. Absolutely right. And what actually, I was thinking, changing the subject slightly, one of the teachers' names I read out, Farida. Yes,
all right.
I must apologise to her because I'm the one who usually steals her lunch.
Terrible. You're saying that on air.
Yeah. Well, then I'll be looking for her tomorrow to steal her lunch again.
Marita, if you are listening in right now, you better watch out. Okay, my boy Kevin is crazy. Yeah, he'll steal your lunch.
Yeah. Yeah. How did it all come about, Nick? It was before the pandemic, and these teachers, they're very busy, always busy, and they sit down in the lunch break. Yeah, notice I said lunch break, right?
Lunch break, yeah.
1 hour lunch break. The poor staff, they sit down and within 5 minutes, they get called. Oh, can you come to see to this child? Can you see to that child? Or whatever. And this particular day, this lady I'm talking about, Farida,
all right,
down with her lunch. And I used to have a bit of banter with her, friendly banter, you know, laughing and joking.
Okay.
And what are you eating today? Can I have some? Things like that, you know, just being my usual mature self, you know, acting like. And she just sat down, and I was just going to go over and pounce on her and say, "What you got today?" And she got called out.
Okay.
Go and see to a child. So what I did, I took her lunch. I took it away.
Oh no, you did not.
I kept it with me, and she was
gone.
Oh
no.
5 minutes or so.
Okay.
When she come back, she's gone back to where she was sitting, and her lunch is not there. And I said to my colleague who was working with me at the time, he was laughing. Okay. So I said, "Don't let us see you laugh. Don't let us see you laugh. She will realise it's me, you know. Said, put your head down, you know, look out the window, do something." But he kept laughing. So I give him a load of paperwork. I said, "Here, I'll get on with that. Like, do that. Oh, I've got to do that. Yes, get on with that. So he sat there with the paperwork, and she come in, and she's looking for her lunch.
Okay.
And it's gone, isn't it? Starts scratching her head. And she's walked out again. Obviously gone to look for her lunch. She thought she must have left it in her locker or something,
All right.
Gone. I went to put it back. And then she's come back like 5 minutes later, looking all despondent because she can't find her lunch. And there it was, where she left it.
In front of her.
In front of her. So she sat down and ate it, basically. And she never knew that I'd done that. Now
She must have been spooked out. She's like, okay, what's happening? Am I getting old, senile? What's going on?
Well, I enjoyed it, being a big adolescent, idiot. Yes,
Yeah.
But now she knows.
It's good. If you think about it, it's always good to have that moments, like a little fun in your life. These little things, it matters. It does matter for, a lot of people, even for, your friend Frida, right? Yeah, she she sounds like a very amiable person. I think she sounds like a very fun kind of person.
Yeah, she is. Great fun. And all the staff there at Gascoigne School, they're all very nice people.
So, so tell me something about what's the most striking thing that that you've noticed in that school?
Well, the school itself, I don't know if it still is, but at one time it was the biggest primary school in England.
Oh wow!
Massive intake of pupils. Very diverse. The amount of languages that must be different languages in the school.
I never came around to ask you. I'm sorry, but I'm going to interject right there. How many languages do you know?
How many do I know?
Yeah, I've always been curious.
Well, I know English.
That's a no-brainer, right? Isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I'll come to that in a moment. I know Cockney, obviously, because I come from the East End of London. So I know proper Cockney, and it geese, right? So I can talk proper Cockney if you want, which no one understands.
Yeah, I think even the viewers won't get it. I mean, it's good if you stick to English.
and then, as I said, I talk English. There's another thing that ends with ish, and I talk rubbish. So there you go. They're the languages I know. Terrible,
Kevin. but it's good. It's good to see, like when you say stuff like that with their schools, these primary schools, how they're more accepting right now. Ethnically, they accept a lot of children from different backgrounds, different races and all that. That's great to see. That there is a lot of diversity. That is great to see. I like it when it's diverse. When you see a lot of these people around, and we're more open and more accepting towards each other. That's just the way it's supposed to be, I think.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And it must be a logistics nightmare, Nick. No, you think about it, Nick. You got different languages.
All right.
Diverse. You've got all these different children there.
Okay.
Many of whom don't understand English, let alone my rubbish. But they're all these there. So, as I say, it must be a logistics nightmare for the staff there. There must be all these staff that know all these different languages. How do they recruit them? How do they recruit all these staff who can speak all these different languages? It must be an absolute nightmare,
Sounds and it's a very interesting thought. It gets me thinking where they get these people. Yeah, it's interesting. At one point in my life, also when I was growing up, my mother, because I pick up a lot of languages really quick. So my mother, at one point, she pushed me forward to be a linguist. And she was like, okay, listen, you have no career in whatever job. Be a linguist since you know how to talk. She's like, okay, you can talk so many languages. Be a linguist. At the age of 13, your mother comes up to you and tells you, you have no future at all. You can be a linguist. Do that. I believe in that. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's good. Because when I was at school, the only opportunities we had, really, Nick, was we used to learn French. And for a time, we did German.
Oh, you speak German?
No, nice. I don't speak German. No, I can't speak German. I know a few German words, but I'm not going to repeat them all now. you can imagine what sort of German words they are. So I'm not going to repeat them. But we used to do French, and for a time we did German. But again, even back then, it must have been a logistics nightmare to find the teachers who could teach those languages, let alone now with all these hundreds of different languages,
True, that is correct. But it gets me thinking on this particular point, it kind of reminded me. I don't know if you're aware about how in the right now on the map, if you look at it, Singapore, right? Singapore is one of the world's most richest countries also. And it's a very in the Southeast Asia, that's like one of the most richest countries and very highly developed as well. If you look at their technology and all of that and the products that they export as well, when it comes to all of that things, it's very technologicalized and it's very different. It's radically different to how we run things over here. And they did it in a very short time span, right? When you think about it like that. So what the then president did was he forced a lot of these children in schools, to pick up this particular subject. And that had to do with programming and engineering. So they started learning about this in a very early age because they realized their country's economy depended on electronics in the very, very beginning, early stages of Singapore, when their economy was still, booming, it's still rising. So in the very beginning, they realized a lot of these countries, Western countries like the US, the UK, and Germany, France, all these big countries, Canada, they want electronics. So what they did is what they catered to the market, And eventually, all these children, they forced a lot of these children, many of these children, in school syllabuses. All right, when it comes to school syllabus and all that, they made them study programming. They made them study engineering topics, like the very preliminary things. But at the same time, that inevitably caused a lot of children to become engineers.
Yeah.
And because of that, the country's output of electronics increased. Like I think it was 200% or 300%. It increased. It boomed. And then because of that, in turn, made the country even more economically powerful. So it just goes to show, education, the things that we are educating our children right now, like languages. If we make that a very mandatory thing and we make children learn, because in the end of the day, when we get to that point where they reach, our ages, like the age groups that we are in, like 20s, 30s, 40s, it's going to be a very useful asset in my personal opinion. Because as a kid, we're a little, arrogant about it. Like, oh, why should I learn something else? Oh, I don't want to learn that just because she told me to do that hag right there. Why should I do that?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, what you're saying now, I think you're quite right. Perhaps there's something that this country could learn from Singapore.
Yeah. From Singapore. I mean, I'd like to look at all these other countries, how they make things work. Why are they where they are right now? Like right now, the UK, in the world, we are one of the biggest countries that is getting vaccinated. Our whole country is going to get vaccinated. The whole plan is to get it vaccinated by the time 21st of June hits. So that is a milestone in itself.
Yes, very much so. Yes,
and then there's the Russians. The Russians are on a different playing field. They started vaccinating their animals.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I know. It's interesting to see, the world, how it revolves. And we have countries like right now, when it comes to people, the number of rollout of the vaccines across the world, the UK is leading. But at the same time, Russia is on a whole different level. What they're doing is they're vaccinating their dogs. And then we have France. France also in another level. They're against all kinds of vaccine. They started some campaign or something like that. And it's crazy to see, different cultures, how they behave. And I think that's very, very, very insightful. We need to, especially our country, we need to incorporate a lot of these things when it comes to syllabus. It should be, tell me, be honest, be 100% honest. When you did your exams, your GCSEs, IGCSEs, are you even using the Pythagorean theorem? Like, come on.
I was just having a funny thought, actually. Yeah, can you imagine it on TV? Yeah,
you can tell me.
And it's the first animal.
Okay.
First animal in the UK to be vaccinated. That'd be quite funny. That I wonder what his name would be. Daisy the cow. I wonder. Dolly the sheep.
Dolly the sheep. I think that's taken.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This is quite funny. But there you go.
I mean, it's different milestones around the world. Like I said, everywhere, if you look at it, everyone is moving at a different kind of pace. And when you come back to it, we are essentially pieces of a whole. So the whole world right now, we are moving in different paces. Like we are right now, we're not having enough vaccines to get all the people vaccinated. We're trying our best. But then there's Russia, like I said, our counterpart, Russia vaccinating animals already. I mean, it gets you wondering, what goes through a lot of people's heads.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a Russian
I see
name.
you're baffled.
Yeah. I'm trying to have a light bulb moment here. If I can think of a name of a Russian horse or something. I don't know. I'm trying to...
Nelly the horse.
Yeah. I'll think of it about 3:00 in the morning. I'll give you a call, Nick. Okay.
All right. But yeah, getting back to the topic that we are going on a lot of tangents because it gets me wondering, when we talk about education and all of that, it makes me, especially for me, it's saddening to see a lot of this stuff that we learn in school. We don't necessarily use it, most of it anyways, in the real day-to-day lives. Like if I was a young kid and I was still in school and I was very young age, if they told me instead, I picked science. I was a science guy. I try to be a doctor and all of that things. I try to study medicine. It doesn't look like it. I know you're giving me that skeptical look.
Especially with that shirt you're wearing, it don't look nothing like a doctor.
I mean, I was a medical dropout. I dropped out of med school and all of that things. And, at the end of the day, I regret a lot of things. But one of the biggest regrets that I had was in school, they didn't teach me about the proper finances that I was supposed to do, the taxes and all of these things, how you're supposed to do legal work and all of that. And, these are things that are important for day-to-day things, day-to-day matters that we need right now, not the Pythagoras theorem in my opinion.
Yeah. Yes, you're quite right there. I couldn't agree more. My finances, goodness gracious, that's always.
That's why you're wearing a pink shirt.
Exactly. We'll leave the girl there, shall we? Yes, I think so. No, you're quite right, though, Nick. You're quite right. It's that's something they should be teaching. I think.
They should. I know.
Finance and as a child grows up, like how do you get a mortgage? How does it work? It's things like that be handy rather than you having to go and get advice and. If you went to, yes, by all means, go and get advice. But if you've got a sort of prior knowledge of how it sort of operates, how it works, surely that's got to be beneficial. Than going
that is true.
Oh, I need a mortgage. Oh, well, have you got any savings? And
exactly.
I think that would be good. That would be wise. A wise thing to start teaching,
youngsters. Yeah. Like you could always do things like this. One of these things that I would also like to learn. Like when I was a kid, I mean, I would teach my children this. And if you get kids, you have kids. I apologize. You do have kids, so you can tell them this also. You can always educate them about these things. And you go to schools, you can always talk about these things. I like topics when it comes to regarding this. How to make people when it comes to investing, what do you invest? How do you invest? And all this is very important, especially nowadays. There's a lot of things like how you invest on your first house or how you're going to invest on your car or education-wise, whatever. But it should be useful to you. And at the same time, when you look at it, when it comes to investing as well, there's so many ways. I know people who bought a house on mortgage. They mortgaged the house.
Yeah.
And after mortgaging that house, it just goes to show, all these things they've been doing, especially with that regard. And it got me thinking, this is something that you need. You need to buy a house. When it comes to a house, what she did was she mortgaged a house. She took a loan. She bought the house. And what she did was she took another loan on that house and she bought another house and she rented both of those places out and she was getting income paying for the first loan. So it's like those kind of strategies, how you're going to make investments, how you're going to make income, how are you going to start working to earn is what I'm trying to say,
Yeah, I call that being shrewd. Yes, I know where you're coming from there, Nick. Yeah, it's something. Well, it's certainly something to bear in mind, isn't it? With people.
True, that is correct.
They could learn it
I mean, people could, start something like this, but hopefully, we can move forward with a lot of these things. A lot of people can implement this in our day-to-day lives. I mean, these are just some of these, fallacies that I had in my education. And I wish, we could have turned something like this around and made it more productive instead of children, trying to look. And because most of this, what we study is just catered to a specific lot of children. And there's this funny Instagram post that I saw. I remember once this picture, asking all these animals, and then there's a fish in a bowl, literally in a bowl, and telling him, climb this tree. I mean, come on. Not every kid is, you have to cater according to the child's skills, is what that whole image was trying to portray. And yeah, that just got me thinking a lot.
Yeah. I'll make you right. So I'm losing my train of thought here a bit. I was just thinking, you're talking about schooling, and I was thinking about subject geography.
Are you still thinking about Russians and their horses? I mean,
about Russia, and then I started thinking about Russia, and I'm thinking geography. Now, I've done some geography at school, and I'm not saying I'm old, but you used to get a book at school, like an atlas.
All right.
Obviously, it was pages and pages of maps of all around the world. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Old, but the atlases in my school were so old. Vietnam was called French Indochina. There was, and then the year after I started there, they got in all new ones, but I never got one. I still had the one with French Indochina. So that's one of my bugbears of secondary school. So there, I'll leave that there, I think.
I mean, it's fair if you think about it. At least you learned a lot of these things. When you check, and when it comes to places like in the U.S. especially, their education system is it needs a lot of work. That's all I'm gonna say. It needs a lot of work when it comes to geography. A lot of these kids don't even know where where the Middle East is, or where exactly UK is on the map. They got, if you ask them to pinpoint it, I highly doubt they'd even be able to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm still thinking about that Russian horse. I can't get it out of my head. I wonder if any of the listeners, maybe they'd like to call in. They could call in on 07852. Wait a minute, it's just changed. The number's just changed.
Yeah, it's 07852473473. You can always feel free, to call us up and let us know, what your thoughts are. If you have any opinions, or you have any thoughts, or you want to talk to me or Kevin, or ask Kevin if he's single, hell, you can always call us up on those numbers.
Yeah. It just changed on my screen. I'm not used to this technology, you see. It only when I was born, so there you go. But yeah,
Kevin,
you might even have the name of. You might have even thought of a name for a Russian horse. I don't know. You might. Any of the listeners, they might do. Okay. So Nick, what do you think? Me being a big football fan, yeah, big football fan.
Yeah.
The season is drawing to a close. We had the Europa League final.
Oh yeah, the Europa League finals. Yeah, I watched that.
And was it Villarreal?
Okay.
They beat him on penalties, and apparently I never see it. I never watched it on TV or anything. But the penalty shootout, it went on forever apparently, and it was the goalkeeper, the Manchester United goalkeeper, the very last kick, I believe.
All right.
Shootout, and he missed. So Villarreal won the Europa Cup on penalties. Yes, I think it was it. Well, every player took a penalty apparently. So I don't know what the final score was. I'm not really interested in Manchester United and Villarreal. I'm a West Ham fan. So
there you go. I mean, for me, UK. Look, when the Premier League and all that comes, it's all good. But I am personally, I've always supported, ever since, even in my youth, I've supported Barcelona when it comes to like clubs and all that. I'm an avid Barcelona fan.
Do you know, Nick? Actually,
yes.
True.
Tell me.
Many years ago, yes, I went to Arsenal. Now I'm a West Ham fan. I went to Arsenal, and there was a player there. His name was George Armstrong. He was a winger.
Oh,
good player. Sadly, he's passed away now, but he was a great one-club man. Always played, and he had a testimonial match.
Okay.
Barcelona.
Oh wow!
And
That is crazy.
I've still got the program at home. George Armstrong, testimonial, Barcelona. And I don't know if some of the listeners may have heard of him. Johan Cruyff, great Dutch footballer. Yeah, are you still there, Nick?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yes, Johan Cruyff. Have you heard of Johan Cruyff?
Not quite. I don't recall exactly.
He's a Dutch, or was a Dutch footballer. He played for a team called Ajax or Ajax.
Okay.
Being a Cockney. It's spelt the same as the detergent, Ajax.
Ajax detergent. Yeah, I know that.
Ajax Amsterdam. And he transferred from Ajax or Ajax to Barcelona. And he played in George Armstrong's testimonial. Yeah.
Okay. That's
information there for you. Yeah. So I've actually seen Barcelona play, believe it or not. I've seen West Ham hundreds of times. Usually get time, but
what is your favorite aspect? What is your favorite part of football? What do you find appealing about football?
I like watching it. I think it's a great sport. Obviously, being a West Ham fan, I like seeing my team win. Yeah, especially this season. Great season. It's like seeing them win, and I like watching football. It can be dead boring at times. Other times, really exciting.
I mean, it's way better than cricket, in my opinion. I don't get the whole cricket, the whole cricket fever. It takes hours and days sometimes to finish a game. Football, it's boom, 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 pow, pow, 90 minutes, you're done.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half, and that's it. Game over. Yeah, cricket tends to be, especially test match.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started about a test match.
No, I'm not a cricket fan. But when you think about it, cricket. Now, I'm not a cricket fan at all. But, and their captain usually rules the roost. He will position his fielders. And I want to know how he manages to do it, how he can position his fielders. He knows how the bowler is going to bowl the ball. He knows how the opposition batsman is going to hit the ball. And he positions his fielders
in such a way
that they're ready to catch the ball. I think that's amazing. I think
it's a lot of insight. It involves a lot of insight, I think, in the game, when years and years of experience. And you study, I think they study their opponents accordingly. And because of that, they progress and they move forward. Like, that's how they map that person out. I think that's what they do. A lot of these sports, even when it comes to football, especially when it comes to football, like players like Ronaldo. For Cristiano Ronaldo is one of those very significant players around the world. People map him out. People try to, they try to man him. They're like, okay, this is the guy, target this guy. This is the guy we're supposed to block out of the whole game.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And the good thing for us people who have to face him, the good thing for us is he's getting older. So he's beginning to slow down a bit now. So
that's terrible for you to say, but that is true also. That's something that is true. When you look at countries like even Lionel Messi, I'm a huge Messi fan. I've been watching Messi ever since I was a child. And yeah, he was one of those underdogs, right? So it's crazy. Even Modric. I don't know if you know Modric from
Luka Modric.
Yes, correct.
Plays for Real Madrid, I believe. He used to play.
Yes, he does.
That's right.
Correct. Yeah, so even him, he's an underdog for me, who started off and he's making his way. I feel like he still has a lot of potential. So that's the same way, how Lionel Messi started. When he first played, nobody really paid attention so much to that player. And like, okay, this is just some guy. Or Cristiano, he came in, there were bigger names than him. There was Ronaldo from Brazil. He was one of the big shots back in the day.
That's right. Ronaldo.
Ronaldinho. Oh, Ronaldinho, that guy is crazy. He is on a whole nother playing field.
Yeah, that's right. I'll tell you what, Nick, have you ever watched women's football?
Would you judge me if I said yes?
Not at all. I'll tell you why. You might think, here he goes, Kevin. Kevin likes women. Yeah, Kevin likes watching women. No, but seriously, women's football, I find years ago, when I was a youngster, you had players like Eusebio, Pele. You had You had the super Bobby Moore of my team, West Ham, and you had players, right? And they could all kick all these great players I'm mentioning here, and many more besides, they could all kick the ball with both feet. Do you know what I mean? They could all
ambidextrous, something like that.
Ambidextrous, yeah. They could both kick the ball with both feet. Their left foot, their right foot, anything. A lot of the professional footballers now can with one foot, which is a bit of a con, really, because the money they earn, they should kick the ball while standing on their head, and, you know. But
only you, Kevin, would say something like that.
If you watch women's football, now women's football is not going to be as fast as men's. But you watch women's football, most of them can kick with both feet. Seriously, they can both kick with both feet, and not only that, when they're going for a tackle, they go in for a tackle, and but they get up. You see the players now; they're like ballerinas. You know,
they dive. There's a lot of diving involved.
They dive like they've been shot by a, you know.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of these videos, a bunch of games, you know, where it's crazy when they dive. Like it's for me, it's very disappointing. These guys are built 200 times better than you and I can ever be at that point. Those guys are amazing. Their whole body, their strength is amazing. And when it comes, why are you sniffing yourself? You caught me off guard.
I coughed. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, I thought you were sniffing yourself. I'm like, what?
No, I don't want to sniff myself. I stink, mate. I've been riding my bike all day. You don't want to sniff me. I tell you. You don't want to sniff me. I don't want to. But, yes, but women's football, they can both, if you watch it,
they
both kick. They can all kick with both feet. And, it's can be quite entertaining. The only problem I find with, say, watching women's football, the goalkeepers.
The goalkeepers.
They're quite as agile as the men. But apart from that, it could be quite a good watch at times, you know? It can be quite a good watch.
Oh, indeed. But, yeah, when you think about sports like that, like you said, you know, there's these things where a lot of them are not ambidextrous anymore. And when it comes to points like that, for instance, I don't know if you watch rugby.
Sometimes,
yeah. So rugby, the injuries that they sustain is on a whole different dimension. You see them with broken noses and they're smiling.
Yeah.
If I had a broken nose, I'd just be there sitting on the floor crying about it. Like, hey, what happened? My nose broke. But these guys, men or women, when it comes to rugby, they have another level of sturdiness. They're very, very super sturdy kind of people. So for them, it's crazy. That's why when you compare sports like football, amazing, very entertaining sport. But at the same time, a lot of drama, a lot of diving involved, a lot it's disappointing when you see players like that just fall down and they scream like they're dying, but they weren't even tapped. They weren't even touched, half of them.
That's right. Absolutely right, Nick. Yep. Yeah, absolutely right.
It reminds me of me, you know, when I was growing up, we had games like that where we'd play football with the other kids. And when we play football, you know, we just the whole goal of the game is to see how much you can kick the other person's leg.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I can remember playing rugby when I was younger. Yeah, and not being the tallest person in the world. Yes, so I used to end up at the bottom of rucks and things like that. Not a pleasant experience. You got about 5 people on top of you, and it's making me cringe thinking about it, actually. But there you go. Yeah.
I mean, sports-wise, I think for me, the best sport could be a sport like football is an amazing sport, but if you look at it, football is one of the most fast-paced games. Like in boom, 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 game is done. When I looked at the World Cup, I don't know if you remember, if you watched the World Cup, if you recall.
Yep.
But it was a crazy World Cup. Nobody expected, that win and those losses. And it makes me wonder, there's a lot of unity involved, especially with the audience. So me, who hasn't watched football for almost 8 years, I watched one of these matches, all right? The semifinal. I can't remember the semifinal, who it was again. but I think it was Uruguay, I think, in that team. Anyways, they were playing, and it was crazy. I wasn't supporting any of the teams, but in the end of the day, I was screaming for both of the teams because of the hype. That hype, that energy. I'd like to say it's
and everything. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's
got wrapped into all the atmosphere and everything. Yes.
correct. It's like that whole, I wouldn't want to say mob mentality, but it's like you're one with the crowd. You're just screaming, shouting. You don't even know why anymore.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely right. We haven't had no callers yet, have we? No.
Not yet. I think the callers are taking their time today.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Oh, well, I was going to say, Nick, talking about different things, and I started off, we was talking about schools and that, and I'd like to say, like, last week was my first program with yourself, which
all right.
I enjoyed, but it was really nice when I got home.
Okay.
With people who contacted me, making nice comments, saying nice things, kind messages and things like that, which I really appreciated.
All right.
Very nice to hear. And it brings me on to nice people. It's nice to have nice friends and things like that, Nick. Don't you agree?
Do you think I'm a nice person? That's my first question. Do you think I'm a nice person?
You're wonderful. I think you're wonderful.
Thank you. Oh, I was expecting something else. I was expecting a little throwback right there, but okay. I don't know how to take a compliment.
Your shirt's an absolute joke, mate. So there you go.
Wow. Take it on my shirt. Wow, that's just very low, Kevin.
You've got to wear a pink shirt. Wear a pink shirt.
But yeah, like you said, there's a lot to do with kindness. We have to be. It's those little things that we do. For me, kindness is not about. It's not about doing these grand things, for people. It's that little thing, you see. Sometimes I saw this one thing, this pure act of kindness and innocence. So I was once I was going to the metro and I saw this, two people, right, and they were just there and they were having a chat. They were texting on the phone and they just bumped each other, right. And as they bumped each other, and I think something dropped, at the same time, they just both looked down and they looked up, expecting the other one to pick it up, and they just started smiling. For me, you might think, oh, he looks like a stalker looking at them. Why would you even look at them? For me, I'm just appreciating the amazing, the kindness of people, that innocent laugh, that innocent smile. It's these little things. Or, giving someone a hand. Or, just even in the line, in the grocery store, if you want to buy food, you step back. Sometimes there's that one person and they give you that smile. It makes you wonder, if you were in that position. I always like to think, if people don't have bus fare or anything like that, I try to go out of my way and help them, because it makes you think, what if you were in their position? What happened then? What would you do?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. Well, I try to be friendly to people, nice to people, it's situation. Yeah, I still class myself as a bit of a gentleman. I still open the door hold on the door for people and things like that. Get most irate when they slam it in my face. Sometimes, you go to the shop and they're in front of you and they just let the door go and it swings around and hits you on the nose. So you've got a nose as big as mine. Do you know what I mean? There you go.
I mean, my nose is already pretty flat if you look at it.
I can see that. Yeah. Do you want me to wipe it for you? I'm nearer to it than you are.
Wow, terrible. Terrible, Kevin. Wow, you're making fun of my face. I was born with this. I can't help it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't send you back, can I? Yeah, I know.
I mean, if you're as beautiful as me, you'd understand my situation.
We won't even go there. We won't even.
But if we think about it, kindness comes in many different ways. I think it's when you see a lot of kindness, and sometimes when there is no kindness around you, I think it's us who has to do that. It's us who has to step up a little and then be that kindness in the world. That's what I'd like to think. Like, it's not that hard to smile at someone is kindness. Because you don't even know what the other person might even be going through. Let's say for you, for instance, you might be having a terrible day at work. But then sometimes there's that one person who just smiles at you. Doesn't mean like, oh my God, he smiles at you, he's going to ask you out or anything like that. Nothing like that. Don't get your hopes high, Kevin. But you know what I mean.
I don't want
little act of kindness.
No, it's like me. I got a good friend of mine.
All right.
If I can plug her name's Anissa, and she's a good friend of mine. Known her for a while. Another one I talked to right actually, and quite often she texts me in the morning. So she does text me, good morning, and it makes me. I don't know why. It just makes me feel good. Might sound crazy, but it just makes me.
I think it'd be crazy.
When she doesn't text me, I keep looking at my phone, thinking, "Well, where's my text?" You know, where's my text? Yeah, I've got my phone. Where's my text? Where's my text? You know, and nothing. But it was quite funny recently because Anissa, she lives on her own.
All right.
And she works in a store, you know, and she's very, very busy. And I don't see her that much because work commitments and that. But if I ever go around and I see her, she'd say, "Oh, there you are, Kevin." And she'd give me a carrier bag or something. And I say, "What's that?" "Oh, I got you something to eat or something, you know, hot noodles like that or tea because I love tea." It's just little acts of kindness like that, you know, which I really think is really nice. And what was it? One day I went round to a complete mix-up because a lot of the time she can't understand me and I can't understand her, and quite often we cross wires, if you get my drift. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
She leaves one day. I knocked at the door, and she wasn't in. I was just about to. I was on my bike. I was on my bicycle, and her landlady come out. They got two front doors. My friend Denise has got one front door. The landlady is obviously next door, and she's. Right. And I know the landlady. Her name's Swapna. She's got two grown-up daughters, and they're a lovely family. Swapna's family, lovely family. And Swapna, "Hello, Kevin. Have you come to see Anissa?" "Yeah, she must be at work." So, where have you come from? I said, "I've just been to the cycle, the hub, we call it. I've just come back." Right. She said, "Oh, come in a moment." So, okay. So in I go.
Okay.
In, and she made me a cup of tea. And she said, "Would you like some of this?" I said, "What is it?" And it was called, you might know this, Nick. I'm not into world foods and things like that.
All right.
Semolina Halwa. And she told me, Swapna told me, you spell it Halwa. She said it's like Halwa, but you take the WA off. So it's Halwa. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly or not.
All right. Yeah, that's the type of sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the type of sweet, exactly. So I said, "Yeah, all right, what is it?" And I looked at this bowl. She gave me a bowl and a spoon. She said, "It's Semolina Halwa." I said, "Oh, okay." So I, to be honest, I didn't like the look of it. But I thought, just to be polite, because she kindly asked me to come in and she made me a nice cup of tea. So I started having this Semolina.
All right. All right.
It was gorgeous. Loved it. In fact, so nice. When she left the room, I hope she can't hear.
You gobbled it all up.
I licked the bowl. I actually licked the bowl. It was that nice. It was really nice. Hello, Nick. Are you still there? You're frozen. Oh, there you are. You keep freezing.
I'm still here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just laughing my head off thinking of how you must have done it.
It was really nice. And I said to her, I'm being a bit rude here, but have you got any more? And she said, "Oh, I did make a load of it, but Anissa ate it all." So that put the end of that, didn't it? So, yeah, but like that, as I say, nice little kindness.
That is true. I mean, kindness comes, like you said, it comes in form of food too. Food is the greatest act of kindness, in my opinion. If someone gives you their food, it is because they really care about you. I'd like to think that.
Yes, that's what I think.
So I had this friend, right? It reminds me of an incident. So I had this friend once. I was working with her a while back. So me and her, we never knew each other back then when we were working. We didn't know anything about each other. The first thing about each other. And in my office, I had a lot of people, and we work, and I have colleagues, and I have people who are really close with me. But at the same time, I was having this small skin condition, a little bit of eczema. I'd like to say it's a little bit of a skin rash. So a lot of these people would look at it and they'll give me that kind of, like they just pretend like it's not existing. It's not even there, that kind of situation. So one day this girl comes in and she does not know even the first thing about me. And we've met like only 2-3 times in office, and we barely see each other because she has a different schedule. I have a different schedule, So one day she sees this and she's like, very concerned. And she comes to office only once or twice a week. So every Saturday or Sunday or every Sundays she's in work. So she'd come in and she'd see me one Sunday and we were talking and she asked me, she's like, hey, you have this rash. And it got me thinking. I was like, yeah, I started getting self-conscious. You get a little self-conscious when people point out your little, your little quirks here and there. You might have those little quirks and you start noticing things about yourself, being a little bit more self-conscious. Like, yes, don't judge me. Like, hey, back off my case. So I was a little defensive and I was like, yeah, I have this. So what you going to do? She's like, oh, nothing. Okay. And then I think she sensed it and she kind of sensed I was a little hostile because that happens. And a week later, she comes back to the office and she brings me this moisturizer. And she's like, here. 1 week later, it brought so much. I don't even know how to express it even right now. Right now, I'm just so overwhelmed with emotion thinking about that whole one. For a lot of people, they're thinking, oh, you've never got anything from a girl. It's not about that. It's not about getting something from a girl or from a guy or from anything. It's about that thought. She thought about me for that whole week. I don't even know this girl. We don't have anything romantically involved, nothing. It was just this act of kindness. She came to me. She gave me this moisturizer. She told me, just put it on. Okay, within a week or two, it'll go away. I did put it on, and it was useless, completely useless. It did not work at all.
But you didn't have the heart to tell her.
I didn't. I just told her, I went to the doctor and I got medicines and I fixed it. And I just told her I had to do a little bit of the white lie. And I told her, okay, listen, yes, it did work. Thank you. I appreciate the fact that you actually did this. And we got really close after that. And it's that little act of kindness. I'd like to think, even now I'm smiling so much because I remember that emotion. It's that emotion, that you can't really buy it. So there's this saying that we might forget the words that people say and all of that, but it's the emotion of that time, You remember the emotion of how you felt. And I'd like to think that's a very big highlight in my life for someone to come out of the blue. For all my life, nobody has ever come up to me and be like, hey, here's some moisturizer. Not because she's insulting me, but rather because she's really thoughtful about it and be like, hey, I feel really bad about you. Here, take this and, make yourself better. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And it's not that I couldn't afford a moisturizer, just to let you know.
Yeah. All right, it's no need to get emotional, mate.
Wow. I just poured my heart out to you and you just said terrible, Kevin. Wow.
Yeah. But it's a brick, aren't I? Yeah, I know. And you said, just correct you there, actually. You said,
tell me.
You said you told a little white lie.
Yes, I did.
Yes, yeah, nothing wrong with that. But us Cockneys call that porkies.
Porkies?
Porkies, yeah. No, not porkies. Porkies.
Okay, porkies.
Porkies. Right?
Okay, porkies.
Porkies. And that's Cockney rhyming slang. Pork
all
pie.
Right.
Yeah, pork pie, lie. So you're telling porkies. Got it?
Pork pies, lie. I'm so gonna forget this.
Rhyming slang. You've had apples, pears, stairs, yeah? You must have heard things like that, surely.
Oh yeah, I've definitely heard those. Yeah, apple stairs, pear stairs. Yeah, I've heard those.
Porkies, pork pies, lies. So you shorten it, so it's porkies.
Porkies. So I will remember this.
It's easier to say porkies than little white lie, isn't it?
I beg to differ, but okay.
You've got a full set of teeth, I can see, so you should be all right. Yeah. But it's all right, you haven't got to close your mouth. It's all right, I can see your Hampsteads. See, Hampstead Heath, teeth. Got it?
Hampstead Heath, teeth. I get it.
Yeah. So Hampstead Heath, Hampsteads. You take away the
All
H.
right.
Hampsteads. Cool, he's got a nice set of Hampsteads. Cockney rhyming slang. Yep.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a little too much of language class right now. Yeah, you're just overthrowing me. I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay. But then there is that problem, right? People have that. Like when it comes to accents as well, it's difficult for a lot of people to get to understand accents when it comes to points like that. Like when you say things like that, for me right now, I know the English language and I'm a little thrown off. Okay, what is he saying?
As we started, Nick, at the beginning, and you said about languages. Yeah.
Yes.
What languages do I speak? And I said English, Cockney, and rubbish. So that's how it works, mate. Yeah, got it.
You just spoke all three of your languages. Wow.
Yeah.
I have no words to talk about you, Kevin.
I'm talented, mate. I'm talented. Don't worry.
But getting back to before we went into a tangent, yes, and end of the day, kindness is very important. I mean, you have to make sure that people do feel like that there is enough kindness, at least in the world, that you're not going to be, like I said, there's going to be people and there's going to be situations where we wouldn't understand what is going on in that other person. Sometimes a person might give you like a very irritated kind of look. He might be really annoyed, but it's not at you. You know that. But I think at that time, the best kindness is just to show them a little bit of kindness. It could be anything, even a mother with her child, and her child is screaming and shouting. I mean, even that smile, and you say, okay, I understand. You go first in line or whatever. It's those kind of kindness, I think, that is important. The day-to-day little kindness. It goes a long way. Because I'd like to think all the kindnesses that we do will build up, and one day it'll come back to us. You give kindness to the world to receive it.
Yes.
I sound a little poetic.
No, I can't put any Cockney rhyming slang to that, but you're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah.
This guy.
No harm to show a little bit of kindness. Yeah, absolutely right.
That is true. And hey, yeah, with that, it is about that time that we bounce out of here.
It is indeed. I've just looked at my watch. It's just gone 6:05.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's gone 6:05. So I think we're out of here, Nick.
Yeah, it's time. About at that time, we bounce out of here. But hey, you guys can always catch us again right here on Real Talk. Next Thursday, we'll have my buddy Nick again. My buddy Kevin. Wow. I'm sorry if I'm a little narcissistic today. It's just the whole vibe. And yeah, hopefully we'll see. Maybe I'll wear something pink.
Yeah, I'll wear something camouflage. Oh dear.
Oh, hey, we could reverse roll. That would be great.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the monitor. I'm looking at the screen behind me. I'll see if I got a shirt that matches those colours. I must have one somewhere. Yeah, I must have. So I'll do that.
I mean, you do have a lot of colorful shirts. I like that.
Yep, I'll wear another one next week.
And maybe next week, within the week, I might even text you good morning every day and be like, hey, good morning, Kevin.
Don't overdo it, mate. I'll be getting emotional.
And with that being said, we are out of here. My name is Nick, and we got Kevin. And catch us again next week on Thursday, right here. Same time, same place, only on Relaks Radio, RELAKS.